Hi, everyone. My name is Donald Cox, and I'm coming to you from Havre, Montana. And I'm making this video for my effective pedagogy for higher education or higher learning. The class is through Grand Canyon University, and my instructor is Dr. Portugal. Um, the class I'm taking has an assignment. The assignment is teaching models. And for the assignment, I have to make a video, obviously, and answer some questions. Um, so, The first question is I need to provide two similarities and two differences between traditional and online learning models. I'm going to start with the differences. Um, the two differences that have to do with those are communication and the delay in communication. So, when you're looking at online learning, communication comes usually in one form, print. Whereas when you're in a traditional model, the communication is a lot more rich. You have body language. You have, multiple people inside the classroom. You have the resources there along with the print. So it's a little bit better, and it's all the time. Online you have to make more of an effort for that. When you're looking at online communication, especially within the learning environment, can be delayed. So if you have a really pressing question on an assignment and it's due, you're may have a delay for that, if you're online. Whereas if you're in the classroom, you are going to be able to get that feedback right away and get that question answered probably much more quickly. Again, there's some ways around that with online education, but it's not necessarily embedded that you have to go out of your way for that. Now, two similarities between the models have to do with community of inquiry and connectivism. And these were found through our textbook, Learning in Adulthood, Comprehensive Guide, by Miriam and Baumgartner. Basically, community of inquiry is, it focuses on creating cognitive, social, and teaching presences, and online specifically. When we talk about, creating these cognitive, social, and teaching presences, not only are you doing that online, but, that's also embedded in the traditional learning. So that's really nice. That's a similarity. At the same time, connectivism. Connectivism is basically focusing on learning through networks. You have multiple pieces to the learning puzzle, and they work together for the learner to acquire knowledge. So when you talk about traditional education, same thing. I mean, you're going to a school, they have the knowledge there, it's an entity, you're getting it. Whether you go online, whether you're doing that, in person, it's along the same lines. So you have that. Provide two advantages and two disadvantages of each model, including relationship to your content area. So I'm going to go a little bit different, although my previous answers can probably speak to both. But some advantages to the online learning models are they allow for self-directed learning through easy access of resources. And they allow the student to communicate on a global scale. Again, traditional learning, you're limited to what you have in your local area for the most part. At the same time, you're also limited in your self-directed learning with what you have there. So, the online learning model can help you overcome that. The advantages with the traditional learning model, you have, again, direct and rich communication. So, if I'm online and I'm engaged in a conversation, and let's say it's on a global scale, I'm missing out on that body language. I'm missing out on that cultural piece. And if I do get any of that, I'm only getting that through the text. And hopefully I have the reading skills to be able to, pick that up, if anything. It's hard to read somebody's mind like that or get body language through text. But then at the same time, through traditional, you don't have that lag time between communication. And that helps make that communication rich. And those are the two advantages. The disadvantages on the online is you have, again, the delayed communication. You're not there. You got to wait sometimes. At the same time, students may not actually truly be learning. With online, there we have a lot of resources, a lot of things coming out, and it's easy to cheat, and so, or easy to maybe act like you're learning. So you're not necessarily cheating, but are you like meaningfully engaged? Not necessarily. So, there's that. The disadvantages to the traditional model is, again, it hinders self-directed learning to a degree. When you're looking at adult learners, they have lives, they have families, they have all these things going on. If you're in traditional, you're limited to what's in the classroom and the time that's available for you to use that classroom. And then you have these possible emergency situations that are becoming more and more present in our everyday lives. You hear more and more about these gun situations in school, fights, fires, whatever, drugs. If you're online, yeah, you might have that, but you're in the safety of your own home. You're not necessarily putting yourself in harm's way. And so that is a disadvantage. However, that's been a historical one anyway, so not necessarily losing much. Our next question is, describe how adult learning theories apply to each model. So again, our adult learning theories and the ones that I went with earlier in the week were self-directed learning and learning through experience or experience-based learning. Basically, with these, with online learning, you can have some experience-based learning. Again, many times when you're looking at these programs, when you're looking at things, especially as our society is being more ingrained and intertwined with technology, a lot of the stuff you're going to be doing on the job, you're going to be doing on the computer. So you need those experiences. You need to know how to work those networks. You need to know all that. And doing that in the classroom can help beforehand, so you don't have that in the job. You can be a step ahead of your competition or whatever you're doing, step ahead in your game, your job. The other thing with that too is with the self-directed learning, again, you have all the resources of the internet. You have the time when you can actually get on the internet. We have different tools that let us get on the internet when we need to. So, you have all that. So as far as self-directed learning, it really empowers the learner. Now, as far as traditional, when you talk about self-directed learning, yes, you can do that. It obviously, that's how we've been doing it. It's worked. It just, again, you don't have that flexibility, and you're at the mercy of, the flexibility of the people you're working with, also in the institution you're learning in. The other thing that you have is experience-based, and that's actually really great. Traditional model is great for that. You get in, especially these hands-on careers, and you can work with people. You get to work with them. You get a rich communication with them, body language, all that. You get their insight, and it's not delayed. So that's really nice. And again, pros and cons to both. Discuss how to effectively present instruction in both models to produce similar learning outcomes. Provide 2 examples. Well, again, when you're talking about self-directed learning, a lot of that, again, is going to play off of that, community of inquiry. Many times people are self-directed learners because of a reason, because of a motivation of some sort, whether it's intrinsic or extrinsic. And so, giving students those types of things, or helping them to recognize those themselves, can, help to foster and present instruction in those cases. In the other instance, when you're looking at online learning and you're talking about self-directed learning, again, you can, do the same thing. It's just, again, your communication can be lagging. You have those issues that you have to overcome. Sometimes it can be a little bit better because, again, you have all the tools of the internet at your disposal. But again, you don't have that rich communication all the time behind it, the friendly face instructor, that that person-to-person connection necessarily. Um, when it comes to the experience-based and being able to do that in the online environment, again, um, and I'm thinking job related, getting prepared for a job, looking at these situations, these tasks that maybe the job's going to ask of you, and putting those in an online learning module. Um, you know, Again, if you're doing online learning, that doesn't mean that you can't necessarily go outside and go and do something, hands-on. So maybe prompting your learners to do that. Again, you're not going to be there to facilitate, but, again, self-directed learning. So that's kind of nice. When you're looking at the experience-based model and you're looking at how to present things in that, again, traditional, hands-on, um, you know, not so much lecturing like I'm doing now and giving you guys a 11-minute video, but, limited direct instruction enough so they get the gist of it, checking for understanding and then letting them go and being there to help them if they need it. And letting them learn from that experience so that when they encounter that the next time, they have the low road skills to be able to transfer there. They don't have to spend all their time thinking about the high road skills. At the same time with the SDL, self-directed learning. I mean, the students are there. They obviously want to be there. You're going to have to, again, give them those tools, the same that you would in an online environment. And it may be a little bit better because you're actually there in person. You get to close in a little more on your students and see, what they need, learn about them, strengths and weaknesses, diagnostic approach. Use the data you gather from that in-person experience to further help you figure out how to give them resources to further their self-directed learning. But that's about all I got for that, and that's the end of the assignment. So thank you for listening. And my sources are from our week's resources, our topic 2. Again, it was Learning in Adulthood, a Comprehensive Guide, and then Science-Based Laboratory Comprehension, a study done by Jennifer Hall Riviera, an examination of effective practices within traditional and online and blending learning environments. So I'll have those posted along with the link to the video, and hopefully you guys aren't bored to death. So, all right. Have a good night.